It's just after 8:30. Welcome back. You are watching Breakfast Television. Our top stories this morning. RCMP in Maple Ridge were called to a home last night after reports a person was shot. It happened on Dutney Trunk Road and Weave Street. The call came in around 9:30 last night. There are reports a suspect was arrested at a nearby property. That has not been confirmed by police. The victim was taken to hospital. The extent of their injuries is not known. The investigation is expected to continue today. A public inquiry into money laundering has found that BC appears to have more high-level organized crime groups than other provinces. 10 of 14 groups assessed as national threats are linked to the province. The RCMP says BC's port access and proximity to Mexico make it a natural point of entry for drugs to flow into Western Canada. Experts suggest it may be more effective to consider some of the crime groups as operating regionally rather than just in BC. Reuters is reporting Canada and the U.S. are set to extend the border closure to late July. The ban, currently due to expire on June 21st, does not affect trade. Data shows while the outbreak is slowing across most Canadian provinces, there's little sign of it easing in Toronto and Montreal. BC's provincial health officer says her conversations continue with colleagues across the line.
I talk regularly with my colleagues in the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. We have weekly calls, and we all exchange information, and we're learning from each other. And it has been very concerning. Washington State, Oregon, and Alaska are starting to see upticks. More concerning is some of the states where they have had early openings, and I'm thinking about the states like Georgia, where they've had a dramatic increase, and their numbers are as high as they were when they put their lockdown measures in place in March.
BC has no new COVID-19 deaths for the fourth straight day. The province recorded 9 new cases. None are in long-term care homes. Also, no new community outbreaks. BC's recovery rate remains at 87%. Meantime, our film industry is close to resuming production. New WorkSafe BC guidelines cover everything from costumes to transportation.
That is the plan for our next phase, so phase 3. We were not there yet. We're still in our second incubation period, but as we see, the numbers are looking relatively good. So that's a possibility. We still, however, have challenges with we are not having non-essential workers or family reunification is the restrictions we have on our borders right now. So that is an area that will need to be addressed.
A guide will be released in mid-June for production companies to follow. It's estimated that film and TV production contributes more than $3 billion every year to the provincial economy. An update to a story we brought to you yesterday about a father and son who claim they were bombarded with racist comments while out on a bike ride. The incident has many wondering, should a racist tirade be left without serious consequences? Ashley Burr has this story.
Outrage online after City News brought you the story of a young boy and his father who claimed they were victims of a racist tirade over the weekend while biking in Surrey. The question on many people's minds, why can't our justice system do more?
What this family experienced when they're on their bike ride is a piece of out of this racism pot, but we don't solve any of those occurrences without solving the whole thing.
It happened Sunday afternoon. The pair was biking when a vehicle started honking at Alejandro Diaz and his 9-year-old son and ultimately cut them off. The driver got out of his vehicle and is said to have screamed racial slurs. He apparently told them to go back to where they came from.
So other people start telling him, calm down, like, just there is a kid there, just calm down, just chill.
Police were called and made contact with the man, but the consequences the driver was met with have not sat well with many who have heard the story.
I spoke to the driver. We were, based on the circumstances, we were able to come to an informal resolution. I informed everyone part of this is that it's a shared road. We all got to make sure that we share the road so that everyone is safe.
Apparently, when he opened the door, the first thing that this gentleman said, I was not being racist, without the RCMP officer even saying anything. So that was his first reaction. And unfortunately, apparently, there is nothing that they can do.
We don't have laws that prohibit people from, pulling over and making racist comments out of nowhere. This could be done at the provincial level, where there could be provincial tickets, or the province could even impose counseling or education programs as a consequence for this type of behavior. It doesn't have to be a criminal offense.
The attending officer felt horrible for the young boy and visited him at his home in New Westminster. Criminal lawyer Kyla Lee says, unfortunately, there's little more the officer could have done.
Police officers take their direction from their supervisors, who take their direction from their supervisors, and who take direction from the way that legislation is drafted and policy surrounding use of police resources.
Stephanie Allen with the Federation of Black Canadians says it's a symptom of a system not addressing racism, explaining why many are calling for the defunding and restructuring of police institutions.
If someone were to beat you up and take your wallet, the best time to address that is not after you've been beaten up and your wallet is taken, but somewhere upstream where this individual has been failed through their families, through the education system, through community supports, through access to their own economic empowerment. That's the best time to address these things.
Diaz says his son is still shaken from the incident, ultimately knowing he likely won't find any kind of justice, not even an apology. In New Westminster, Ashley Burr, City News.
Thank you so much, Ashley. All right, 8:37 now. Just over 2 weeks after he died while being held down by Minneapolis police, George Floyd has been laid to rest in his hometown, Houston, Texas. The Reverend Al Sharpton delivered the eulogy. On May 25th, a white Minneapolis officer knelt on Floyd's neck for several minutes, despite his desperate pleas to breathe. His death sparked a global uprising against police violence and racism, and today, Floyd's brother will speak before the House Judiciary Committee in a hearing on policing practices. A ruling about the future of Vancouver's newest tent city is expected today. A BC Supreme Court judge will decide if the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority can evict campers from its property at Crab Park through an injunction. The tent city was established the very same day a tent city at Oppenheimer Park was cleared. Campers had declined BC's offer of temporary housing. More than 60 tents are situated on a parking lot and grassy area with port security keeping watch. This is no ordinary year for anyone, marking a special occasion. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took the time today to address the graduating class of 2020.
You should be celebrating with your friends, taking pictures in your gowns, attending the ceremony on campus, walking across the stage to get your diploma, waiting for the commencement speaker to finish their speech, and thinking about the parties that you'll be attending later that night. But this year is different. You are different. No student gets to choose the world into which they graduate. But if you could, and let's be honest here, you probably wouldn't have chosen the world of 2020.
You know, it certainly makes you think back to the year when you graduated, the graduation ceremony, the prom, the after party, you know, all those things that you just took for granted that you were expecting to have. And then it's just, it sucks when it's taken away.
That's a really good way to put it, Mary. Absolutely. Anna, I do remember my graduation. I wouldn't say like it was yesterday because it was almost 40 years ago, but absolutely. All of those key points, you know, the prom and even the little parties ahead of time. So, you know, we extend our understanding and our congratulations to all of the 2020 grads. It has been a tough spring so far, but no doubt you guys will come through it stronger than ever. Let's have a look at your forecast, shall we? Talk